Evening and welcome to the November 2nd Council meeting. If you'd please stand. Our flag salute this evening will be led by our Councilwoman Karen Comstock. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in saluting our nation's flag. Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Our first proclamation this evening is the Purple Heart Proclamation. I'd like to call up Commander Dennis Murillo from VFW Post 11546 and Commander Donna Vila of American Legion Post 299. Gentlemen, would you please join me? Come on up here, all the way up front. Way over here, Don. You can do it. Okay, and the proclamation reads, whereas the citizens of the city of Chino have great admiration and the utmost gratitude for all the men and women who have selflessly served their country and this community in the armed forces. Veterans have paid the high price for freedom by leaving their families and communities, placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women of the city of Chino who served in the armed forces have been vital in defending the hard-won freedoms and liberties of our Constitution that are treasured by our citizens. The Purple Heart is awarded to those members of the armed forces of the United States that have been wounded by an instrument of war in the hands of the enemy or I never can say this right, say that for me. See, everybody. Anyway, after they have passed, to the next of kin in the name of those killed in action or those who have died of their wounds in service to their country. On December 3rd, 2013, the city of Chino joined the Purple Heart City program, which reflects a series of cities along the Purple Heart Trail that honor those who have given so much in their preservation of all of our freedoms. In the preservation. And whereas in affirming our commitment to honor Purple Heart recipients as well as our appreciation and admiration for their sacrifices, this proclamation solidifies our community's gratefulness to their service. And whereas to show that we proudly stand as a Purple Heart city, signs proudly displaying this designation have been placed in our community, including our community building as a part of the Chino Liberty Courtyard and War Memorial. And whereas this proclamation will be brought back annually to remember the sacrifices made by so many and to reaffirm our commitment as a city to them. Now, therefore, I, Eunice Emulo, Mayor of the City of Chino, do hereby proclaim and affirm the City of Chino's proud commitment to be a Purple Heart city along the Purple Heart Trail in a humble effort to honor the service and sacrifices made to preserve the freedoms for all we enjoy today. Would like to speak first? Sir?
Good evening. I'd like Pete Garcia to stand up, please. Pete, stand up. Pete is a Purple Heart recipient. I'd like everybody give him a big hand. Come up, Pete. Come up, Pete. He's the one who put the bug in my ear by doing this. Any other Purple Heart recipients in the audience? Anybody else? That's how honorable this is then, okay? Thank you, everybody.
Okay, Don.
Well, I'm glad Pete made it here. I called him up, and I'm happy he made it. About 2 years ago, he came to the post and confronted me and said, Don, I'd like you to go to the city and inquire about the program of Purple Heart. And I said, okay. Well, my daughter overheard it, and she's a go-getter, so she did all the legwork for me and found out that we already had the Purple Heart program in progress, but there was no proclamation, which that's what we have here now. So you've already been introduced as I'm the American Legion. Dennis is a VFW. But he come to our post. Are you American Legion also?
Yes,
dual
sir.
member? Okay, he's a dual member, so we can share him. We don't have to fight over him. So, or he might get wounded again. So anyway, I just want everybody to thank you that you acknowledged the proclamation for us, and it's an honor, and I'm honored to receive this on your behalf, and all the others in the city as well. So,
Pete, would you like to say a few words? Would you like to say a few words?
No.
No. Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming down tonight,
I'll say
Pete.
a couple of words.
Yes. Go ahead.
I want to thank you. Thank you for this proclamation, and thank you for finally acknowledging us Purple Heart recipients. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's our honor to do so.
Yes.
And thank you for being here, Pete. Pete has been in our community his whole life.
70 years.
70 years. Farming, grew the wonderful corn we used to enjoy so much. You know, those beautiful cornfields that we no longer have, doggone it. But yeah, Pete's been here a long time. Gentlemen, thank you for being here this evening. And I'm not sure who, we want to get a picture. Come on. Don, would you like to have a
Thank
couple?
you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Mayor.
Thank you very much for coming. Let's give him one more hand. Okay, our next proclamation is Law Enforcement Records and Support Personnel Day, which is November 9th, 2021. I'd like to call up Chief Wes Simmons, who will introduce the Chief of Police Department's record and support personnel. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like Ashley Rodriguez and Carla Rubio to come up. They're two of our dozen records technicians that we have at the Chino Police Department, and they represent the hard work that they do every year, processing more than 7,500 traffic citations, 15,000 police reports. They're also the face of our department. Anybody who comes in the front desk meets them, greets them, and they handle that. And they're also leading our way into the new National Incident-Based Reporting System, which is replacing the old 1930s uniform crime reports. So that's going to give us more robust data when we produce our crime reports at the beginning of next year, and I'm excited to share that information. And they're leading that for us too.
Well, I'd like to read the proclamation, and it reads, whereas the Chino Police Department and law enforcement agencies throughout the state depend upon law enforcement records and support personnel to provide them with vital services. The Chino Police Department Records Unit and support personnel throughout the department are crucial to helping identify, pursue, capture, and process suspected lawbreakers. These professionals continually use their expertise and experience to assist in identifying and tracking felons, maintaining accurate crime statistics, and improving apprehension strategies. And whereas it's important to recognize California's law enforcement records and support personnel for their valuable contributions to our law enforcement system and to public safety. And whereas the State Executive Board of the California Law Enforcement Association of Record Supervisors has designated Tuesday, November 9th, 2021, as Law Enforcement Records and Support Personnel Day. Now, therefore, I, Eunice Emiloa, Mayor of the City of Chino, in honor of our records and support personnel of the City of Chino Police Department, do hereby recognize Tuesday, November 9th, 2021, as Law Enforcement Records and Support Personnel Day. And it is adopted this day. I want to thank you ladies for being here this evening. You have quite a task in front of you. Thank you very much. And Wes, I do have to ask you, what's this?
So I was gonna address this during my comments, but this is No Shave November, and so this is 2 days worth of No Shave November. We'll see if it looks any different in the next 2 weeks.
Wow, you're going to be furry. Okay, we want to get a picture. Well, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you very much. Now, we had the business of the month this month. The presentation was going to be to Chino Medical Center, but they were unable to be here this evening, so we're going to reschedule that to the future. Prior to the council meeting, we did have a closed session. I would like to ask our attorney Galante to report out of that meeting.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, and those in attendance. The City Council did meet in closed session, as explained by the mayor, and discuss the single item listed on the closed session agenda, namely conference with legal counsel, one item of anticipated litigation under the heading initiation of litigation. City Council received a briefing and provided direction no further reportable action was taken. That concludes the report out of closed session.
Thank you. And our city manager, Valentine, do we have any agenda additions or revisions?
Mayor, I have no changes to the agenda. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, under public announcements. First, I would like to give one last reminder that on Saturday, November 13th, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at Ayala Park, Healthy Chino, in collaboration with Chino Valley YMCA, will be holding its annual Bark Around Ayala Park. This is a free event that offers many fun activities, including but not limited to a community walk, dog pie eating contest, dog fashion show, dog photo booth, and multiple pet vendors. Please remember that all dogs must be on a leash and owners must sign a waiver to participate. For more information, please call 909-334-3258 or visit www.cityofchino.org/healthychino. Also, for all of our residents living in the preserve at Chino, please note that on Wednesday, November 10th, from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., city staff and members of the Chino Police Department will be holding office hours at the preserve in the Preserve Community Center located at 15800 Main Street to answer any questions you may have or to discuss any matters of concern. For all questions, please call 909-334-3304. Lastly, to honor all those who have served in the United States military to preserve our freedoms, please join us for our annual Veterans Day ceremony on Thursday, November 11th at 11 a.m. at the Chino Community Building's Liberty Courtyard and War Memorial, located at 5443 B Street. The celebration will include a flag ceremony, which includes a presentation of military branch flags by Chino families who have family members actively serving in the military, as well as special guest speakers. For any questions or for more information, please call 909-334-3258. And finally, as we will be honoring all of our veterans on Thursday, November 11th, please note that City Hall will be closed that day and will reopen on Friday, November 12th at its regular operating hours of 7:30 to 5:30 p.m. Okay, next on the agenda is public comment. This is the time and the place for the general public to address the council on items that are not on the agenda elsewhere. Our first written request to speak is from Storm Padilla. He's from Reliance Community Church, and he's going to lead us in an invocation this evening. So I'd like to invite all those who would like to join us to please stand.
Thank you very much. Will you please bow your heads as I pray? Dear Heavenly Father and loving God, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for substance, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thank you as well for the freedom to embrace you. And thank you for loving us even so from your boundless and gracious nature. And thank you so much for your hedge of protection over this great city. In the scriptures, you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you've established those very authorities to promote peace and order and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor, for our various levels of city officials, and in particular for this assembled council. I am asking that you would graciously grant them your wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interest and issues of our times, for a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people, for a keen thirst for justice and all that is right, a confidence in what is good and fitting, the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, and for the personal peace in their lives and joy in their daily tasks. I pray for the agenda set before them tonight. Please give them all an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city of Chino. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you, Mayor.
Next written request is Melissa Campani from Supervisor Kurt Hegman's office.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and community members. My name is Melissa, and I am here tonight. It's a very exciting time for us. Supervisor Hegman asked me to come and make sure that everyone is invited to his Christmas open house. It's rapidly approaching. The fun, festive time of year is here. The open house will be taking place on Thursday, December the 2nd from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And the address would be at 14000 City Center Drive. That is in the city of Chino Hills, the downstairs area of the City Hall building. If you have any questions, we have a phone number here for you of 909-465-5265. So please join Supervisor Hegman for appetizers and holiday cheer. This is a free event. However, we do ask that people RSVP so that we have a good head count. And that's very easy to do at supervisorhegman.eventbrite.com. And we also encourage you to follow Supervisor Hegman on social media or the county website in order to, keep abreast of all of these events going on, and of course, county information as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa. Those are the only two written requests to speak that I have. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council on an item that's not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Do any council members wish to have any items pulled for separate consideration? Okay, seeing none, then I would entertain a motion for approval of the consent calendar. There's a motion from Councilperson Comstock, second from Councilman Flores. Please vote. And the consent calendar passes unanimously. Okay, moving on to new business. Item number 13, acceptance of land dedication and park amenities at Discover Park. This item is to adopt resolution number 2021-076, accepting the land dedication and park improvements for Discovery Park. Our staff report this evening will be provided by our Director of Community Services, Dr. Linda Reich.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Tonight we are pleased to present to you our newest Chino Park, Discovery Park. It's located in the preserve south of Pine Avenue, west of Hellman on Discovery Park Avenue. I've got a couple of pictures for you, so I'd like to show you some of the amenities of the park so you can get a feel for what it looks like. So here's the site plan. So the things that you'll notice on the site plan, there is a dog park, a half basketball court, an obstacle course, play equipment that's shaded, a mounded dune, which is like a walking path, which is nicely landscaped. There's a Tai Chi garden, there's a picnic pavilion, and of course there's a restroom. So let me just run through a couple of pictures. So this is an interesting, different type of play amenity. The first one in any of our parks. So it's a climbing apparatus, which is fun for the kids. We've got another climbing apparatus with a climbing wall. And in the background, you can see the shade structures, which are over the play equipment. We also have a half basketball court, which will be lit. This is the obstacle course, so you can see the white line on the right-hand side. So you start there and you run the obstacle course, and then you come back and there's a zip line on the other side. So you can see the zip line there on the left, which is going to be fun. We don't have a zip line in any of other parks either. Some of the play equipment on the left. This is a surface-mounted merry-go-round, so anyone can access the merry-go-round, which is nice. We also don't have one of these in any of our parks. The shade structure, picnic shelter, so we'll be able to have picnics at the park. A dog park. So the dog park has an area for large and small dogs, and also shade, some benches and tables within the dog park, which is nice. And again, this is the first dog park within the city of Chino. And this is the mounded dune area. You'll see that there's gray DG path, and it's nicely landscaped, and the landscaping in the park is drought tolerant, which is a nice addition. There are several amenities around the park. They call it the Discovery Loop with interactive activities. So this is one of them, and it's a sound machine. Well, you can see how sound waves travel. So you stand here, and there's another round one of these out in the grass in the park. So you stand on one side, and you can see how sound travels from one side to the other. There's other things like a water whirlpool where you spin it and you can see the water kind of whirlpool up. There's a harp. There's a maze. So it's really fun. There's 10 different things. There's a periodic table, which is a picnic table within the park as well. It's really a nicely designed park. So we're excited to have this as one of our amenities. So I feel like I'm really loud. As required by the Preserve Development Agreement, the Chino Development Corporation is required to set aside parkland, construct park amenities, and dedicate the land and amenities to the city of Chino in lieu of paying park fees. I believe this is the fourth park that the Chino Development Corporation is dedicating to the city of Chino. As with any construction project, once complete, a punch list of items is established that has to be corrected. This park was no different. There were a number of items that were identified by staff that needed to be corrected, and we have done that. Although substantially complete, there are 2 items outstanding that need to be remediated. The replacement of a picnic table that does not provide adequate toe clearance and the installation of bike racks. So the picnic table is a concrete table, and it's within the picnic structure itself. That's been ordered, and as soon as it's in, it'll be installed. And as well as the bike racks, those have been ordered, and they will be installed as soon as they arrive. As noted in the staff report, questions have arisen regarding the absence of off-street parking. During the development review process, staff's parking needs assessment determined that off-street parking should not be included on this project for the following reasons. There's availability of street parking on all 3 sides of the park. On the north side, there's housing, which front right onto the park. Parking would eliminate the only grass area within the park, and because this area is in a highly dense area, there's not a lot of open grass space anywhere in the area. Primary users are typically the residents who live near the park, although this is definitely a public park and anyone is welcome to visit the park. What we've seen in all of the parks in the preserve, they're primarily visited by preserve residents. And the final one is because there is an on-street accessible parking space that was provided on the east side of the park. So if someone who has accessibility needs, they can park in the on-street parking accessible parking spot. Another issue raised was the installation of a restroom that contains 4 all-gender, single-occupancy restrooms. These restrooms are in compliance with AB 1732, which requires gender-neutral restroom accommodations to avoid discrimination. Those restrooms were built and meet accessibility requirements. A final issue is the absence of a trash enclosure. There's no intention of storing waste on site. There are trash cans throughout the park. The Preserve Master Maintenance Corporation will be collecting waste and trash off the park daily, and they do have a contract with waste management to remove trash from the site. So tonight, staff is recommending the following actions. Accept the grant deed conveying the fee title in Discovery Park from Chino Development Corporation to the City of Chino. Authorize the city manager to execute the acceptance and dedication forms of the grant deed. and adopt Resolution 20-2021-076, accepting the dedication of land and Discovery Park improvements from the Chino Development Corporation to the city. Now, we understand that some council members did receive comments from Mr. Barr regarding this project, and myself and staff from Development Services would be happy to answer any questions you might have regarding that correspondence. And that completes my report.
Linda, thank you very much for a very thorough report. Are there any questions regarding correspondence that was sent to some of the council members? Or any points that need clarification?
I do have one.
Yes, Karen?
Dr. Reich, I agree. I drove down to the park on Sunday and looked around, and it's a pretty dense area. As you know, a large portion of it hasn't been developed yet. Is there a way that we can mitigate some of that off-street parking for the park? Have we done that in any other parks down there? I mean, what do we do after all the rest of that development comes in there and you really can't? If you do want to visit the park, let's face it, it's going to be pretty tough to park around it.
Yeah, we've discussed that. Because we know there's going to be some pretty dense development, there's a chance that residents will park along the perimeter of the park. So if we do find that that's an issue in the future, we can certainly look to providing some type of restricted parking on the park side, maybe a 2-hour, 4-hour, whatever we think would be appropriate, which would preserve parking for park patrons.
Mark, did you have questions?
No, I agree with the assessment that you made regarding the bathroom to make it junior neutral. And the only reason is I have concerns now with making just one large bathroom, saying it's for males or for females. Only because now with people self-identifying as a different, especially in a park with little kids, I would rather have individual restrooms so that people can use that and we don't run into that as a problem. And I think the police department would probably like that as well. So I agree with your assessment in doing that as opposed to doing just one large bathroom for each male and female.
And I think this is a beautiful park. I think the amenities in it are exciting. I think the kids and the families in that area are going to really enjoy it. The dog parks, I'm thrilled we finally have something for a dog park, even if they are tiny. And of course, we're all looking forward to getting a future big dog park someday. But I think it's really, really well done. I too drove down there and looked at it, and it's a beautiful, beautiful park. And I think the people that live around there are going to really accept it and enjoy it. The homes down there are extremely dense, and they have no yards. And so I think this is really a welcome addition. Okay. So with that, if there's no questions, then I would entertain a motion of approval. A motion from Councilman Flores, seconded from Mayor Pro Tem Lucio. Please vote. And the item passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 14, City Manager Employment Agreement. This item is to adopt Resolution 2021-074, approving the 7th Amendment to the City Manager's Employment Agreement. The report is from me, but I would ask for assistance from our city attorney covering the details.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you is a proposed 7th Amendment to your city manager's employment contract following the 2 closed sessions that the City Council had to undertake a performance review of the city manager's duties and actions pursuant to his contract, which must occur annually. The council directed that this proposed amendment be presented to the council for consideration, having found that your city manager has met the city council standards and goals. So as a result, there was a city council manager review committee, and I understand that the recommendation included some of the items that were provided to the council in closed session and that are presented here. And that includes a 1-year extension. So the agreement currently provides for extension of it currently expires in 2025. This extends it to November 2nd, 2026 to make it concurrent with today's date. The City Council further agreed to extend the severance provisions in the agreement by an additional 6 months, and those reduce by a year every year that your city manager serves under the agreement, and no less than 12 months or what's allowable under the government code. And that government code requirement basically says that you generally can't pay more than the remaining balance of the term by way of a severance. The council had also conducted the evaluation using a facilitator and asked that that process also be included in the amendment. So the proposed amendment before you has the provision that the review will occur using a facilitator. And with that, the agreement is before you and ready for your consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Fred. Any questions on the city manager's agreement? Well, I just want to say a lot of effort went into this. We had a new procedure this time using an outside consultant, which I thought was very valuable. We were really able to dig into a lot of details dealing with the city and its operation, our expectations of the city manager and our goals. I think that's going to be very, very helpful in the future. Out of that came also a desire to have some workshops with our executive management staff and, going into more details on goals and where we want to be in, say, 15, 20, 25 years from now, which is going to be very valuable moving forward. We can't just look at today and tomorrow and the next year. We really need to look into the future. So I would encourage us to adopt this new agreement. Matt has been with us now, 9 years, Matt?
That's correct.
10 years next year.
That's correct.
You came to us, you had all dark hair.
That's true.
Another 10 years, you're going to be totally gray. But it's, for me personally, it's been a joy working with you. I have found you to be very caring about our community. I mean, caring to the point where you moved your family here, relocated them, and have really put your whole heart and soul into this community, and I really appreciate that. Appreciate your honesty, appreciate your transparency. I appreciate your willingness to be very honest about things. Sometimes we don't always agree on everything. You're very gracious when you lose certain arguments. But you're just, you've been a pleasure to work with, Matt. You're welcome. So I would entertain a motion. Motion from Councilman Flores, second from Councilwoman Comstock. And the item passes unanimously. You are stuck with us another 5 years.
Should I add the large dog park to the contract?
Yes, I think we need to add that on there. And a horse arena somewhere. Okay, next on the agenda is mayor and council reports. Let's see, on Wednesday, October 20th, I attended the mayor's prayer breakfast. That was well attended like always. On Wednesday, the 27th, I attended the West End Mayor's Roundtable with our city manager. It's a new group that's formed with the mayors from the cities on the West End to talk about mutual concerns. Had also had a meeting with Pete Whittingham, who is representing a company that would like to locate a MRF here. Don't know whether that's feasible or not, but then I attended via Zoom a regional elected officials meeting. On the 28th, which was a Thursday, I attended the Watermaster Appropriative Pool Confidential meeting, CDA Finance, and then I also attended that evening Mike Krieger's fundraiser for re-election to the Fire Board. On Friday the 29th, I attended the CIM Trunk or Treat and judged the 3 best displays. It was fun, and I could not believe how many people attended, and it was incredible. On November 1st, that was yesterday, Monday, met with representatives from Amy's Farm, county and city staff. We took a tour of the Yorba Slaughter Adobe and and talked about the possibility of relocating or a second location for Amy's Farm out there, which I personally think would be absolutely exciting to have some real agricultural preservation, which we've tried to do for so many years and been unsuccessful. We may just have found a winning combination. Mayor Pro Tem Lucio.
Yes. First, I want to start off by saying I'm really glad that we were able to move forward with the proclamation for the Purple Heart City. The gentleman came up to myself and the mayor on the last Veterans Day asking how we could make this city a Purple Heart City, and I'm glad that we went ahead and we moved forward and made sure that happened. It's important to remember our veterans, especially the ones that got injured in the line of duty. For my report on October 23rd, I attended the Chino Police Department open house / haunted jail, and from what I'm being told, it was more successful than the fire department. I'm not 100% sure, but it was.
Wes looks around.
It was well attended. It was a good time. My kids had a lot of fun there, and I just want to tell you thank you for doing that for the community. October 25th, I attended a meeting with the city manager. On October 26th, I met with Oscar Trejo, he was a local realtor, and Bill Rue, who was a city councilman from city of Montclair. And they wanted just to find out some information regarding ADUs in our city, and I let them know that there's potentially some plans in place to be able to have 3 or 4 different elevations that are already accepted by the city, that people can come in if they're interested in ADU. They can come in, look at the different options that we have, and maybe decide to choose one of those and save some money in doing that. So they were interested in that. On October 27th, I attended an infrastructure committee meeting with Councilperson Comstock and the infrastructure committee from city staff. It was a good meeting. We talked about some potential construction that we got coming up for some of our roads, and I know some people don't want to hear that right now, especially with all the construction going on, but it's something that needs to be done, and I know at the end it'll be for the best. On October 31st, I attended the Halloween Spooktacular at Ayala Park. A great turnout, a lot of people. I know that we had to separate everything due to COVID, but it was a really good event. I wish we would have got there a little earlier. It was daytime, but we got there at night, and unfortunately, we missed the Halloween costume contest and all that, but it was a good turnout. My partner here had his own booth. He was handing out candy. It was well represented. But overall, my hat's off to you, to the commission for putting that together. I saw a couple of your commissioners there. I don't know if it was a costume contest that you guys were doing or not. I know it was a big circle, but I don't think it was a contest. But I think it was 2 of you there, and thanks for participating in that, and obviously for Linda and her crew. You guys did a great job putting that together. On November 1st, I attended the State of the Airport meeting, the first one that they've had. That was a great turnout. They really went all out, and all the preparations and the way they decorated the ballroom, and they just talked about all the growth that has taken place in the last 10 years, and a lot of the growth is, and there's still more coming, but they talked about some of the airlines that have come back. Obviously, JetBlue's come back. They got Hawaiian Airlines there. They got, I think, China Air that came in, and they're looking at potentially bringing some more. Frontier was another main one that has a hub there, but a lot of the expansion also occurred with the freight. So they initially had UPS, but now they've branched off to FedEx and Amazon. So they anticipate that that's going to be generating a lot of money, and eventually they want to continue doing that. And they just talked about the big vision of one day, making this the hub and the mecca of what's growing and going from the Inland Empire to what they said was the empire. So there's a lot of excitement there. I think there's a lot of potential. Obviously, I think we're growing like crazy, but I know some of our residents are pretty concerned about the freight airplanes because they fly so low and turn, It's not so much the commercial ones, but the freight ones. So I think in the future, we need to try to sit down with the airport and try to work out some sort of resolution to where maybe we can get these freight airlines to continue to climb forward before they make the turn, because that seems to be an issue with a lot of our residents. And then lastly, I just want to say Veterans Day is coming up on the 11th. I just want to thank all the veterans that have served for this country. I know a lot of times, especially in our history, we haven't appreciated our veterans, but, you know, as far as I'm concerned and everybody in my family, hats off to anybody that served for us. And obviously, we wouldn't be the country that we are without the sacrifices that you've made. So with that, I just want to end and thank you.
Good. Councilmember Comstock.
Thank you, Mayor. On October 20th, I met with County Supervisor Kurt Hegman and discussed subjects of mutual concern and interest to the city of Chino. It was a nice meeting with our county supervisor. Also on this date, I met with the city manager for our monthly one-on-one session. Then on October 21st, I attended the Chino Valley Unified School District's board meeting hosted at Don Lugo High School. As many of you may or may not know, there is a tremendous amount of concern about vaccine mandates to the students in our schools. This particular meeting, it was probably attended by about, I would say, at least 2,000 people. That's why they requested the change of venue. There was just such a demand for a larger venue. I would say it was primarily attended on this meeting by parents who were in opposition to the state mandates regarding the vaccine. There was, after a very long meeting and a lot of public comment, there was no action taken on this date for this item as it was continued, so that will continue to play out. On September 25th, I regretfully missed the Community Services Commission meeting, but my partner Walt over here covered for me. I was busy at Seroptimus Bingo that night at the Senior Center. It was a fun evening despite a little early morning rain session. Councilman Flores was also there. We served spaghetti dinner to a couple hundred people. And my dad actually won a game of bingo, and so did the Mayor Pro Tem's mom, so that was kind of nice to see for a change. My parents have been going to that for a long time and finally won a game, so I think they were. Then my mom wanted to leave early after my dad won, so. But it was a nice evening, and I want to thank everybody for coming out to support our Seroptimus Club. On October 27th, I attended the infrastructure meeting that the Mayor Pro Tem earlier mentioned with the city staff. Today, I attended the code enforcement workshop with the rest of the council here earlier before the council meeting began. And just my final comments are, it was very, very touching to have an actual Purple Heart recipient attend the council meeting tonight. So thank you to the American Legion and the Pete Garcia and Mr. Avalos for bringing Pete here. Matt, I just want to congratulate you on another successful contract negotiation, and we're looking forward to working with you and getting a lot of things accomplished over the next few years. So congratulations on that. Wes, I couldn't attend the Honda jail because I was on anti-duty that day. And plus my nieces and nephews are used to having kind of behind the scenes tour, so maybe just not quite the same, but I'm glad you guys had a good turnout. I heard it was a good time. In Amy's Farm, Mayor, I think that'd be a great partnership. I just want to say to people, if you haven't taken your kids out to Amy's Farm, it's really close and it's a nice little tour. Get to see some farm animals, and it's just a really nice demonstration of agriculture and preservation of farm animals. And again, for me, I'm very patriotic. Veterans Day is coming up, and thank you to all the veterans who have served our country, both past and present, and the ones that are abroad presently serving our country now and keeping us safe. So thank you for your service, and that concludes my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Flores.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. October 20th, I attended the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. That same day, I attended the Solid Waste Advisory Task Force, and in the near future, I think, Council, we're going to have to, have some serious discussion about some of our organic waste and, what the future holds for our organic waste and how, the county and wants to work with some of our, with their cities and with regards to how we handle that waste. On the 21st of October, I had a meeting with Brittany from the American Cancer Society, and that was an interesting meeting. That same day, I attended the Spectrum. We had a Spectrum Marketplace discussion with some of our staff members, and That was another interesting discussion with some, businesses that want to do, business with the city of Chino. So I look forward to those discussions. Same day, I attended the Chino Valley Unified School District meeting with Karen Comstock as well. And those parents are very passionate, and I commend them for, about a couple months ago, those meetings were pretty small. From a small little room, it turned into, it turned into a big crowd. So, they're doing some serious work over there. On the 23rd of October, I attended the community open house over at the Chino PD, and I walked in there and I had a great time. I took baby Charlie with me, and unfortunately, I came out as the bad guy because I took her into the haunted house that you guys provided. And there was this person hiding behind this wall, and it got me too. And so that was pretty fun. On the 25th of October, I attended the Seroptimus Bingo Spaghetti fundraiser dinner. I had a lot of time. I didn't win a hand, unfortunately, but I picked up a lot of trash, and that was enough for me to serve my community. That same day, I met with a resident, John, over on Adams Street near Liberty Park, along with John, Transportation Manager Dennis Ross, and Sergeant Ted Oden attended, and we just had some discussion regarding some speeding issues that are happening down there at Liberty Park. And I gotta really commend our staff because our resident was just, extra, just excited and happy that, the city of Chino really does pay attention to speeding issues. Let's see, on the 26th of October, I attended a Chino Club Scout Pack 2 meeting. I went over there. They're asking for some support for a big event they're gonna have in February, and I just wanted to check out the facilities and see what the boys and girls are up to down there, and it was a pretty sweet time. On the 29th of October, I had a code enforcement ride-along in preparation for today's talk regarding code enforcement, and I had a good time. I learned a lot and asked a lot of questions, and that's that. On the 31st of October, I attended the Halloween Spooktacular, and I had an awesome time, and I can't wait to see what next year holds for our Spooktacular event. And earlier today, along with the rest of the council, I attended the Code Enforcement Council workshop. And again, that was a pretty good discussion we had, I think. And I just want to, conclude with saying two things. Number one, congratulations, Matt Ballantyne. And number two, I'm really happy that the city of Chino moved forward with this, being a Purple Heart, city. I know that same day that gentleman approached the both of you. I think he also approached me as well, and I thought that was, a great idea, and it's good to see that we finally came full circle with that. So that was good to see. But that concludes my comments, Mayor. Thank you.
We had become a Purple Heart City a number of years ago, but we never actually adopted a proclamation. So now we're making it public, so to speak. Walt.
Thank you. On October 20th, I attended the mayor's prayer breakfast with several of my colleagues up here, and that was very well attended. Then I attended the Spectrum business meeting that we had, where there's a new possible proposed business to come in, which is going to be very interesting on the north side. Then 23rd, I went to the PD open house, took my daughter, and it was very well executed. Congratulations, it was great. And Andy led my tour there. Thank you, Andy. Then I stopped off on the 25th, I stopped off at the Seroptimus Bingo long enough to get a bite to eat. And then I came over here and attended the Community Services Commission. And they had some lively discussions regarding the Little League over at Heritage Park. On 27th, 27th is the first official meeting for the 2022 Corn Feed Run, number 20. I have to announce that. And then 28th, I went to the YMCA Board of Directors meeting. YMCA is doing well. 31st, attended the Spooktacular, and that was very interesting. It was well packed. I mean, there wasn't a parking spot to be had. I wouldn't mind entering a conversation about increasing the parking over at that park someday. Also, Commissioner Martinez was there with his outfit on. And if you were there, you saw him. He like glowed in the dark with that sport coat and that tie to match.
What was he dressed as?
He had a zoot suiter, I think, or
Oh, my gosh.
It's an orange pumpkin jacket with a tie. That was
Orange pumpkin tie.
I think it glowed in the dark too. And today, attended the code enforcement meeting with the rest of the council. And also, I'd like to finish by thanking you, Matt, for taking me in and helping me out when I needed help joining the council. And I'm looking forward to working with you for the next 5 years. Thank you. 1 year and a half. I'm only going to be here another year. So.
Walt, I have a question for you. How many cars are you predicting for the 2022 corn feed run?
We're planning to have 1,000 cars. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we at our rate of growth, we should meet that this year.
Fantastic.
Thank you to the city for allowing us to use that.
Well, it's,
all those streets.
gosh, it's so popular.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. And I think it'll be more popular next year because of the gentleman this year that filmed it and put it on Facebook Live.
Right.
Apparently, he goes to different car shows and does that.
Right.
So the word gets out all
I don't know
over.
how we found that filming, but it sure was nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
Yeah.
City Manager Ballantyne, your report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the entire council. It's certainly an honor and a privilege to serve you and our community and our staff, and I don't take that lightly, so I really appreciate that. I'm also thankful for the process. I know this was new, but I thought it was very productive. At the end of the day, we have a list of things that we need to achieve over the next year, and I think both myself and my executive management team is eager to step up and get these items done. And I think a lot of these are going to be very visible in the community, so kudos to the council for providing that direction, and I'm truly thankful for that. The last thing, I know the mayor had mentioned this in the early part of the council meeting, but I just want to remind folks that the Preserve office hours is going to be held next Wednesday. It's not going to be Thursday because of Veterans Day. So that's next Wednesday, November 10th, from 5:30 to 7:30, and certainly people can get updates as it relates to all the improvements we're making down there, particularly as it relates to traffic. So with that concludes my reports.
Okay. City Attorney Galante.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of points. One is just tagging off of what Councilmember Flores mentioned on the organics regulations. We have been working with your staff and also on developing an ordinance that meets the new organics laws, SB 1383, and we have provided that to your waste hauler and have received some comments back. So you should be seeing that ordinance in the very near future. On another piece of legislation, the California legislature passed AB 602, which essentially requires that starting in January, you have to post all of your development impact fees on your website. And it has kind of this interesting requirement that you have to also ask developers that receive successful applications and entitlements for development about all the fees and charges that they were charged, not only from the city, but other government agencies, and post that on your website to the extent they provide it. It also imposes some additional requirements for the nexus fee study that is created to establish your fees. So as you periodically update those fees, it's always based on a nexus fee study. There's some new requirements on that, and I expect to work with your staff on all that. That's all I have.
And that has to be posted January 1st?
January 1st of 2022.
So you're already working on that with staff?
It's either a link, I need to chat with Nick and his team, but They already have those fees, but it just needs to be either a link or an actual posting of those fees.
Okay. Nick's doing thumbs up, so. It's already on the website? Oh, so we're ahead of the curve. All right.
So the other parts are probably a little easier, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Chief Simmons, Mr. Fuzzy.
Thank you, Mayor, and it's already driving me crazy, I just gotta say. So yes, our community open house was a tremendous success. I want to thank you guys for your support and for the community coming out. And in all fairness to our partners at the fire department, we did go extra hours, and we certainly counted all of their fire personnel who attended as well into our number. So thank you, and Chief Williams was there as well, helped support it. Also, October closed out our Pink Patch project, and so we raised over, I think, several $1,000s. I don't have the exact figure, but quite a bit of money because we did the T-shirts this year. So I want to thank the community for their support, purchasing those patches and the T-shirts, which we then turned over to City of Hope. And then, yes, for the month of November, we're doing No Shave November. And again, this is to start talking about cancer prevention and testing and things. I speak for myself as a man. Most of the men I know, we don't like to go to the doctor. We don't like to have tests, but you need to do that, and you need to make sure that you're testing properly and looking out for those things. Next Tuesday, we're hosting our next Coffee with a Cop. That will be at Canterbury, Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. And then lastly, I want to give a shout out to our Kiwanis Club. This Friday is Kiwanis Bunko at El Prado at 6 p.m. So come on down if you haven't played Bunko in a while. We didn't do it because of COVID last year, and so we're getting back into it, and we'd love to have everybody come join us at El Prado Golf Course. And that's all I had to share, unless you had any questions for me.
Okay, any questions of the chief?
Thank you very
Sorry I
much.
couldn't make your open house, but we were camping.
That's understandable. We're going to do it again next year, and we thought the timing was perfect with Halloween and the haunted house, so it worked out well.
Great, glad to hear it. Did you guys take pictures?
Yep, they're on our social media, so got quite a few pictures out there of the event.
I'll go look for it, thank you. Chief Williams.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff. Chief Simmons, I know we had about 700 people at our open house, and I committed to getting him to 701, so I think maybe I did that in partnership, so we appreciate the relationship. So as many of you know, we've had continuous challenges with our AMR and our private ambulance services. I'm proud to announce that the County Board of Supervisors last month made a bold statement, and for the first time in likely 40 or greater years, they've decided that they will be going out for an RFP. So that, to me, is just the beginning of good things to come. Your fire district will continue to be poised to take advantage of any opportunity that's provided to us. I've regularly stated to all of our constituents that given the opportunity, we think that we can provide the best service. I think we prove that day in and day out to the extent where we essentially created 12 vacancies by staffing up 2 ambulances to make sure that we're taking care of these communities, and our folks are working them. Their attitudes are phenomenal, and again, I think we can do it the best. However, again, we'll just take these opportunities one at a time, and our main goal is to try to elevate the services at whatever opportunities that come our way. With that being said, on the ambulance or on the EMS front, to date, I'm really happy to state that we have 26 now survivors from our high performance cardiac program in the district. And what that means for us is we have standards that are at the very highest. When we say someone has survived, it's not just that they're alive, it's that they're 99.9% back to the life they were living prior to their full arrest. So we're at 26. We'd encourage you to, as you come across any businesses in town and through your conversations, if there's any businesses out there that want to partner with the fire district and have us place an AED and a trauma kit in their facility, we have a process and we get donations to be able to do that. And we will, our staff, most of you know Ryan Porsinian, but our staff will go in and we will train those folks. It can be intimidating to have that piece of machine there, but we actually go in, we train the staff, get them to feel comfortable, and they can participate in our program. So we're at 26, we're proud of that, and we'll keep moving.
Have you presented this offer to the chamber?
I don't know specifically, but I will definitely check into that.
That, and
That's a
also,
great avenue,
have
great
you,
idea.
do we have any kind of link on our website about this? I think maybe you could work with the city and we could also include that
Fantastic,
information on our website.
perfect. Thank you for
Now,
thank you for
that West End Mayor's Roundtable that I mentioned earlier that Matt and I attended, the whole subject was AMR and the bid of the contract and how that's evolved, and a lot of information about that I was not aware of. So, hopefully you guys will be part of the bid to take that whole responsibility.
Yeah, we're poising ourselves. I give thanks to my board of directors who support what we're doing, and we're placing ourselves in the best possible position for whatever opportunities that will come. And at the very least, we want to have a seat at the table to make sure at the end of the day that we elevate our services from what they currently are. So that's where we're at.
Well, you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. And then I would like to note that probably within 2 council meetings from now, I was able to promote a deputy chief, which most of you know, Chief Skibar. Brian Turner just promoted to battalion chief, and Steve Kester to captain. If the name Turner sounds familiar, he's the son of Greg Turner. Most of you know him. All phenomenal men, and so we'd like to bring them out and introduce them in a couple meetings from now.
Please do.
Will do.
Yes, please do.
And I think that concludes for me.
Okay,
Unless you have any questions.
thank you very much for being here. Okay, and with that concludes all of our reports. So we're going to adjourn the meeting to our next regular meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, November 16th at 7 o'clock with closed session at 6 if necessary. With that, we are adjourned.